this is the Wayhaught panel. And I am your moderator, Bonnie Ferrar. So, as you can see from my shirt, I love Wayhaught. But that's not why I'm here. Because as much as I love Wayhaught, and I'm sure you all agree, I love the two actresses who play them even more. Because as great as they are on screen, it's the way they live their lives off screen, the way they inspire us all, that make them and make me proud to be one of their fans. So please, please help me welcome Katherine, Barrell, and Dominique Provost-Chalkley.
We just had lunch, and I'm feeling a little sluggish. You guys might be feeling a little sluggish. So I think what we should do is we should do the wave.
What do we do? How do I pick about this? You and I are gonna do it when it comes to the middle. We'll participate, huh? Okay, great. Standing in line, Bonnie. Ready to go? Sideways jumping jacks. Sideways jumping jacks. What is that?
Oh, no, she's
I feel awake now. Do you guys feel awake? Look, it's like we're at the UN.
But wait.
way queer.
Okay.
Hi, guys.
Hello. Yay.
Okay.
Now I'm out of breath.
Catch your breath.
What is with this? Can I just say that it makes us feel like we're like rock stars at a concert when you can't see the other. You know what I mean? You're like, can we put the lights up? I feel nervous.
You kind of are like rock stars.
Okay,
you
go
know?
with it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna jump in.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that finale for just a second.
There we go. Hello again.
There we are. That's better.
Nice.
So in the finale, we get Waverly finally telling Nicole that she loves her.
I know, finally.
There's a ring. Is that a proposal? Do you think that they're engaged? Like, how did you interpret that scene when you read it?
I think that it was not as like super premeditated. Obviously, probably would show something else.
Yes.
Yeah. I think the intention of it is there. The idea of this is my person is 100% there. But was Waverly thinking to propose? I don't know if she wasn't planning on it.
When I read the scene,
Yeah.
do you remember when you read it?
I did. I was like, ooh.
Did you?
This
You
is
were like,
a
ooh.
big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we just turn this down just a smidge? I feel like I'm yelling at all of you. Yeah.
Just like move it away a bit, maybe. There we go. There we go. But when I read the scene, I was like, is this? Is
Yeah.
it? Like, I really didn't know.
didn't
It
know.
didn't like strike me instantly as a proposal, obviously, because of, I mean, I think it's done in a way that is supposed to be like, you know, you guys probably know more than us. I don't know. Like
we may have shot an alternate. We shot a couple different versions of that scene, actually. We did.
We did, yeah.
And it was up to the team to decide what they wanted to use. So
yeah. Ooh, that's exciting.
So like alternates where you're eating baby celery instead of baby carrots?
Yeah, celery.
Or...
I had like a pickle at one point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I like it. I like it.
I thought you hate pickles.
I do. I love pickles. Nicole hates pickles. Yeah.
So in season 3, we finally get to learn a lot more about Nicole and Waverly's backstory, their past. Some pretty big moments of being a survivor of a massacre, being a literal angel.
Half angel.
Half angel.
The other half is really not.
And then you get this big promotion as sheriff. So, you know, how do you think that these revelations are going to affect Wayhaught moving forward? Because those are some pretty big things to juggle.
Yeah. Oh, a lot. I think one of the things would be when I think about if we go back to, you know, the purgatory as we've known it so far, which
God, I thought you were going to say something else.
The whole thing is like completely, I don't know, I just feel like season 4 is going to be a new world. And I feel like from Nicole's perspective, it's going to be hard. Finding our work-life balance is going to be even more challenging, which I think is something we can all probably relate to in our partnerships and stuff, because it's hard. And I think she has a super important, all-consuming job, and I think her making time for her girlfriend is going to be a priority that I think is going to... It's going to be hard for her because she's so in love with her job and the people she protects. So it's...
And she's so in love with...
And she's so in love with Waverly.
Oh, yeah. It will be interesting to see where it goes from here. I feel like we saw a really lovely side to the relationship this year. And I have no idea what Emily has in store for us, but I know it's going to be good. Yeah, me too. Yeah. We like trying to get things out of her, which is like, so...
And she's like, it's going to be crazy, as typical Emily.
Yeah, exactly. But
well, yeah, because you're like actually stuck in a garden at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to be more
it's literal
for
distance.
Waverly.
You know?
Do you think that, I asked you this, do you think, I forget where we were, but I said, do you think that, last night when we were watching the finale, I said, do you think Waverly is going to be mad or upset or have some sort of resentment towards Nicole that her father sacrificed himself?
For her.
For her.
Which I hadn't thought about.
Yeah.
Very clever, this one. No, really clever.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to know what's going to happen up there in
the garden.
The garden, isn't it? Literally anything could happen. So it's hard to say. But I have a feeling that obviously the garden isn't what we imagine. Somebody said about maybe seeing Willa up there, which would be interesting. And as much as obviously like that is a heartbreaking reality that Julian sacrificed himself for you, to be honest with you, I feel like her dad was in her life for a split second and you are the love of her life. So it's like, you know, you are family to her and much more important in many ways. So I think that, in reality, I don't think she would actually be angry at you. Because I think she'd be a lot more hurt if you went.
100%, 100%. I hope so.
Right? I know.
Sticking on the season 3 line, when we were at ACON, you mentioned that the Christmas scene, you were pretty proud of the way you chose to do the song at the end, and you thought a lot about how you were going to portray that in a very different way. Can you talk a little bit about what went into that decision?
You want to talk about this? I like it when Kat talks about this.
Okay, I can talk about it. Well, we had, I think, originally, the idea was to recreate or have a nod to the sensation that was the cheerleading scene. which is amazing and it's iconic. But I loved what Dom did, and I thought it was very brave because she took a scene. And I remember Dom saying to me, she said, I don't want people who are watching this to think that, A, this is necessarily what they have to do to be sexy or whatever, and B, if they do decide to do it, that it's not going to come off as this perfect routine. I mean, that doesn't happen in real life. So Dom said, I just really want to play this sexy, intimate moment, but for real, how I feel it would really go down, and the emotions that are really behind it, which are a mix of nerves and fear and slight embarrassment, but also like there's a sexiness to that. And I think it was so brave of you that you said, I want to portray this moment that we've seen so many times in so much different media, but I want to portray it in a way that feels more authentic. And I loved that. I'm super proud of you for making that choice and sticking it out.
You just start realizing when playing characters like this that like representation is so important, and that goes beyond representing the LGBT community, representing strong female characters. It's like in every moment you have a choice as an actor to be like, how would this actually go down? I want to play the truth so that people don't get kind of misled about certain situations. And yeah, you said it all very eloquently, so thank you.
Yeah, you did a wonderful job. And I remember saying to you, do you remember we were talking and I said, we're going to talk about this on a panel. It's going to be really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think this conversation is so important to have, especially, you know, in a time where media is just so, like, everything's on the table. You can see anything as a click away. And I just think the importance of having sexuality represented and these moments represented in a way that just is so much more true to how they play out in normal life, I think is comforting.
I'm not going to lie, actually.
But you've done it before and you pulled it off. Like,
No, actually, it, like... I actually had a really terrible first experience with that kind of thing.
Really?
Yeah, where I went to a musical theatre college that, I don't know if anyone had like pimps and hoes parties? What the hell is that? Can we just talk about that for a second? Does that stuff still go on? It does? Pimps and hoes, you dress up as a pimp or a hoe. It's pretty simple. Which is like outrageous when you think about it. It's just an excuse for the girls to try and look sexy and the guys to, I guess, enjoy that.
It's gross.
Isn't that gross?
It is gross.
I think it's an American thing. Is it? No, genuinely, I think it is. But I didn't mean that to be offensive at all. But we did it in England, and everyone was a bit like, "What is happening?" I don't know if this is a. Anyway, I was not into it at all. But my housemate was like, we've got to go. She's a proper lovely northern lass. She was like, come on, Dom, it'd be great. Yeah, get your tits out. Hey. And I'm like, oh, bloody hell. She lived. Sophie Reed, if she's listening, I bloody love her. Yeah. She wore nipple tassels only. Strong look.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like pretty full on. And I was just like this insecure, like thinking back to it. And anyway, my boyfriend at the time, who is now gay, so that just is always good.
I also have an ex-boyfriend who is now gay.
Yeah, great.
So do I.
Yeah. Oh, great. Look at us go. Rock on. I love it, yeah. But anyway, I dressed up. She got me a corset, a black lace corset. Did not look good. And I remember just being like, what on earth am I doing? Like, you know that feeling where you're like, everyone's acting like this is normal, that we just have to go and do this? But I was like shaking. I walked through the door like, hi, guys, in this black corset, just like sad, can I get a beer? Like, I remember it being like one of the most horrific things. And my boyfriend was there. And I remember oh gosh, I just remember it being like all shades of awkward. And then everyone was like, tonight's the night that you're gonna And I was like, oh my God. So we ended up going back to his. I don't know why I'm telling you this entire story.
It's good.
I've realized now that I'm telling it. But I think it's important because then
Whenever
it was like,
you start anything with a, ooh, I know it's going to be good. Yeah.
but yeah, and then I got there and I remember being like, this is the moment that like I have to do the sexy thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember being like, I had my first ever out-of-body experience, don't know if anybody's had that, where like you see yourself as I was like mounting, being like, and I just remember feeling like the most unsexy person in the entire world, and then just giggling, which I don't think is what you're supposed to do in retrospect.
Hey, there's no supposed to.
And it was just honestly one of the worst experiences. So in many ways, I hadn't actually linked the two together, but like...
Until right now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Until right now. But maybe that's why I felt so strongly about making sure that it was represented in the right way. Because the reality is, all I wanted to do was be like, this is so awkward. Can I go and take it off and come back in my pajamas? Because that will make me feel better, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, pimps and hoes. Who knew? Ooh, that's awkward. Very good.
That was a very brave story.
Yeah, I think so. Thanks.
I don't have a question to follow that one.
Bonnie's like, where am I now?
Okay, this is no. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Don't know why I
Well,
went
no,
off on that
this sort of is going in the same way, I guess. You guys are so open and honest with us fans. Sharing your stories and your awkward moments and your struggles with mental health and with just pulling back the curtains of your lives as rock stars and saying, you know, we're just like the rest of you guys, you know. And we experience the same kinds of struggles, the same kinds of insecurities, the same kinds of down days. Melanie just did a tweet, too, the other day where she's like, you're going to see pictures of me all dressed up at this event, but I've had a shit day, you know? And I think that's so important that you guys are so open and honest with us because you change all of us when you do that, you know? And it takes a lot of bravery and guts to do that. Was that like a conscious decision at some point along this journey to be like, I'm going to just put myself out there, or was it just kind of a natural?
Very good question. For me, personally, it has been a humongous journey since the beginning of playing these characters. I remember when we used to stand up in front of people, I used just to be like, I have no idea how to do this at all. And feeling like I had to prepare something to say because I felt so much pressure to make sure that it was the right thing, and constantly coming off and then feeling super like disappointed at what I had said and being through like this real negative battle with everything. And I know that Kat used to find it a lot easier we had this conversation not so long ago, right? But to speak publicly. However, both of us, I think, have gone on a journey to realizing that actually all we need to do, because of the fact that we're part of this amazing, inclusive community that is so generous with their love and their kindness and support, that actually the best thing we can do, like you're saying, Bonnie, is to just be truthful about who we are, and hopefully in some way that will affect change. And I think that the more you kind of do that and you realize that there's like, you can find comfort in that, and that nobody's going to laugh at you, or if they do, it's because you say something ridiculous, like a story of you being in a thing and whatever, and that's okay too. But yeah, that we're all in it together, and hopefully to inspire each other to be more open, talk about those things in order to combat them. And so, yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Yeah. I think too, because now we have a relationship, all of us, right? And so now I feel like it would be different if this was kind of a one-year thing. We did a few of these, but we're seeing people frequently, and I just feel there's a natural progression of, how long can you keep kind of that media facade up when you're having such an intimate relationship with so many people. It would just feel really gross after a while, I think. And I feel safe. I feel safe in the community, and I feel accepted and supported and all the things you said. And I mean, sometimes I think before I did a talk on some personal struggles I had with anxiety and depression, and I was really nervous writing that talk, and that was only a couple months ago, because there was a part of me that felt like, not for you guys, but I worried about like being less hireable, or that some producer was going to be like, don't hire Kat.
What?
Yeah, that thought went through my head. I was like, this is so ridiculous. But it did. It still went. I mean, of course I did it,
Wow.
and I coached myself out of that place of fear. But there's definitely is. But it was for that. It wasn't ever anything at a convention. So it was kind of a different circumstance. Yeah.
And if that was the case, then they're not worth it.
Yeah, totally. Well, which
Like,
is a huge
why would
part,
you want to
yeah.
be a part of a production that doesn't
doesn't,
support
yeah.
that vulnerability? I think that's exactly what this show has shown us as women, that it's okay to be vulnerable. And when you start realizing that, and that you can find strength in it, and that there is power in speaking your truth, you know?
Yeah,
Because
beautiful.
so much of us we're so trying to present a certain part of ourselves, which goes off what you're saying,
Yeah.
right? Of like, that's a negative, so I'm just going to push all of that stuff out of the way, and that's what in turn I think causes so much mental health issues, is like not just accepting. Acceptance is such a big word for me. It's constantly going, well, this is present in me right now, accept, address it, and then you can somehow find a way to move out of it. Whereas if we're constantly shoving one side of us aside, then I think it's actually extremely destructive, you know? Interesting.
Well, you bring up an interesting point. As women, I think we do try to wear many hats, and you do worry a lot about, whether you're hireable, whether you're likable, whether you're interesting enough, or, and the things that you determine aren't good about yourself, you kind of push back a little bit, right? You don't want the world to see those, because if they saw you in your vulnerability, would they hire you? Would they want you around? And it goes back to Wynonna Earp and why we think Wynonna Earp is so important, because it shows women in being vulnerable, messing up, making poor choices, but being strong, and that there's multiple ways to be strong. And I particularly liked the Jolene episode. Because I'm not alone, right? So because what we found interesting was that they chose Waverly to highlight Jolene. Jolene didn't attack Wynonna. She didn't attack Nicole. It was Waverly, and Waverly from the beginning is this ray of sunshine, and she's the good girl, and she pushes all that back to the background, but she was the one who was going to struggle with this demon, with depression. So you did a marvelous job and highlighted some really important things for everyone, I think. I think we can start to open the floor up for questions, if you guys want to line up. I'm sure you have some interesting questions for Wayhaught. While we're doing that, I will ask you something to kind of take us down into a different place. When you film scenes, when you get your script, do you look through the script and go, oh yes, I get to film this kind of scene? Like, what kind of scene do you get most excited to film? Is it like a fight scene? Is it the love scenes? Is it the or is it just the funny scenes, like with being Maeve or Gooverly or?
They're all different. They have their different, I think.
That was great, by the way. You doing
Thanks.
Yeah, Maeve. Maeve.
Terrified.
Also, very sexy.
Really?
Well, when you got your boobs out, I was like, whoa!
My boobs looked good. I was like, they look good, those boobs. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good for you.
They looked good. I was like, girls, well done. What? I don't know. I think for me, I love the comedy stuff. There's something about it that makes me just so giddy and happy. But I love, every time I see, they're all different. I would say the comedy stuff gets me the most excited. But I also really, I have to say, like, we didn't get as many intimate Wayhaught scenes this season, and I did miss them. Like, I missed that connection. Yeah.
Did any of you guys miss
Any of you guys miss that? I don't know. I missed them. I felt like I didn't get to work with you as much towards the end of the season because the character, in different ways we did, but
Different ways, yeah.
I like those the beauty of the scenes, the purity of them is really magical to play.
Totally. I agree. Hi, Annie.
Hello.
Hello.
Try not to make you cry this time, sorry. My question is for Kat, and one of the things I wondered the most about the finale is, what do you think Nicole's reaction will be when she finds out that Waverly's in the garden in this mystical, inaccessible place, well, for most people, and because I think it breaks my heart to think about how devastated she'll be, but at the same time, she's gonna, just be determined to go, let's go get her. So.
Absolutely. I think she's going to be terrified. I think it'll be terror, and then immediately in true Nicole fashion, it'll be, what are we going to do about this? How do I help? How do I get her back? How do we figure this out? But I think it's going to be, I think losing Waverly into the garden is going to bring out a side of Nicole that we haven't seen before, because it's the thing she loves the most in the world. So I think it's going to be fierce. Yeah.
Where is Nicole?
Wait, where is she?
Yeah.
Good question. Nicole might be in the garden too. We don't know. With Jeremy and Robin huddled in the corner under the trees. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
The three of us are somewhere, and we could be split up. I have no idea. Yeah.
It's exciting.
Thank you.
Thanks, Annie.
Hello. I had to write this one down. So why was it so easy for Waverly to welcome Mama and Julian back into her life, but hard for her to say the words, I love you to Nicole, and how... And how does the not getting the reciprocated I love you make Nicole feel, and knowing that, like Julian showed up and she's like, hey, Dad, and Nicole has been like, I love you, 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 and she's like, okay.
It's a good question, though.
Thank you.
I think,
Well, just so you know, I don't write the script. So would be my first initial response to that, and sometimes I'd be like, I love you too. What? In the scenes, no. I think that. What was the first part? The first was part.
It was
I love
that Mama came back and she was like, I want to go see Mama. And then with Julian, she was like immediately like, he's my dad. Like, let's go on a picnic. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you say that. I think that Waverly has been dreaming about her family, since she was 4 years old, about being reunited with the love of her life, which was her mother, for so many years. So I think it's natural in many ways for her to be. I think Waverly is somebody who has fantasized a lot about reuniting and what that's going to mean and everything, and probably so much so that it's actually been quite negative for her because she had very high expectations about that sort of stuff. But when Mama came back, it was like, okay, now we can just go back to how it always should have been, And I think she's somebody who is extremely positive in that respect. In terms of not saying I love you back, I think it was really hard for Waverly to, I don't know, how do I, at first, I was like, why isn't Waverly saying it back? This is so weird. Like, I would have thought that Waverly absolutely would have said it back straight away. But I think it was a really, really strong choice that Emily made, that it was actually really hard for her. And I think it has to do with actually finding it very difficult to accept that love from Nicole, rather than it being about her being able to say it. I think it's just like, I don't know if anybody else has had this feeling, but it's like when you get complimented and you just like, freeze, I don't know what to do, and just like throw something random back at them. I think it came from that place more than anything, which was just like this fear of, by receiving that and saying it, that, I don't know, I just think that she struggles with that. I think she struggles with having that amount of attention on her. But obviously I would have loved to have said it back, I'm not going to lie, much earlier. But I think that it was powerful when she did. It was when it mattered the most, and she redeemed herself. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, thanks.
She might have had a different love language.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, also. Good answer. Yeah.
I'm too tall for this. Hi, so
Hi.
first thing.
Ooh, wow, you're wearing the contact lenses.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I understand your pain, and oh my God.
Yeah, get them out.
No, because, you know, I gotta come get my selfie with you first.
They're actually okay once you've got them in, aren't they? They're like, you feel, apparently it goes past your senses, which is kind of gross, but basically you have like eye
Yeah, because you have
senses
to
and it
like,
goes
you
up
have
and
to
around,
like
so you forget
taco
to feel.
fold them.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
it's really horrible.
You do. You have to like. I watched YouTube tutorials on it. Exactly.
yeah.
You like all the way
All the way back.
up, and then like you
So
peel
gross.
down, and then you like stick
Yeah.
it in.
Just make sure you don't have them in for too long, because genuinely you can really mess up your eyes. You have to like keep
Well,
lubricating
come get a
them.
photo with me and the drink, the smoothie, and then we can.
Okay.
But so my legitimate question for both you two and then your characters, if you guys were arrested with no explanation, what would your friends and family's assumption be? And then for Nicole, obviously we're talking like Nedley and Winona and Waverly and Doc and, you know, that family. What would you guys be arrested for?
I've actually been arrested.
Good story.
Dude, tell!
I know, unexpected. Unexpected, guys.
I wondered if you were going to say anything. I was like, oh, I hope so.
But it's actually a really fascinating story that I won't go into right now because it's extremely long.
Cole's notes it. Cole's notes it.
It's really hard to. I actually got framed. And it actually ended up being like one of the scariest, most amazing experiences of my life. I got put into a cell for 48 hours. And I had no idea why I was in there. And I was in there, like, freaking out, just like hearing people coming down the corridor and like banging their heads on the door. I was like, what is happening? What's happening? They wouldn't tell me a single thing. I'd like ring, there's like a little bell in there. Has anyone been to a cell? There's a little bell that and I kept ringing and the guy would come and I'd be like, you just have to, I'm so sorry, but you just have to like tell me. I was just about to go into the Spice Girls musical, and bearing in mind, I went in on the Friday night, and there's no clocks in there, there's absolutely nothing in there, so you have no idea what is going on, and it's just bright lights the entire time with no windows. And so I had no idea how quickly or slowly time was passing, and I was genuinely like, I've got to be in rehearsals on Monday morning, and if I don't turn up because I'm in a cell, I'm probably going to get fired. And it was like one of the scariest things. There was like a little bed, there's a toilet in your room, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Written above your thing, and you're just like, I feel sick and I'm tired and I feel sick and I'm tired, but I don't know how to get out of here. It was actually, really, really
That's
scary.
like my
This was
worst
supposed to be just a
nightmare.
very comedic question.
I'm so sorry.
Like, don't turn.
I'm super sorry. But telling my dad was like the scariest thing when I came out, because I was like, no one's going to believe me. It was like one of those situations that, I mean, oh God, the story goes on and on. It's really great. I love it. But had like a proper good cop, bad cop interview, like the whole thing. Anyway, I got done for GBH, grievous bodily harm. Yeah, so that was good.
Wait, you got done for, I think, clarify that.
Sorry, that's what I got released on bail.
For bodily harm.
Yeah.
Who harmed you?
I harmed, apparently. I've taken all of my
she's saying,
clothes.
like she committed like an assault.
Yeah. But I didn't. I promise. I
Yeah,
didn't.
that's what I wanted you to. She didn't. It was a mistake.
So if
Yeah.
you were to be arrested
Okay.
for something you legitimately
Okay,
could have done,
right. Okay, sorry.
what Dominique would you have been could be arrested for? And then Waverly and Nicole as well.
You know what? I know mine. Mine's gonna be my temper for sure. Yeah. I really, I have a really hard time with authority, which is probably why I don't do so well. Like, I'm not very good with working in the system. I think that's why I'm in the right industry. But I just have a bit of a, if an authority figure pushed me or did something that I found incredibly unjust, I think I would just lose it. Yeah.
We got your back.
Thank you.
I really don't know. What do you think I would do?
Protest.
Yes.
Protesting.
Yeah, activism.
Activism for sure. Yours is so good. Mine's just childish.
I know. I feel like you need to come back on the podcast again now.
I know. Too many stories, not enough time.
Okay.
Hi, love.
Hello. What does a Wayhaught wedding look like to you guys?
We've talked about
We
this.
talked about it. We said it would be intimate and small with just our kind of closest friends and family on the homestead, probably.
Yeah.
And I think
Lots of fairy lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would be really beautiful, but I think it would be really intimate, and then we'd go somewhere really fun for our honeymoon.
Yeah. Do you think it would be outside though, in the cold?
No, I think we'd do it in the spring.
Because there are other months. You're right. You're right. I forgot that there are other months.
Yeah, and Waverly would have like a big bouquet of wildflowers or something.
Have you read the news about Calgary
Yeah, it's snowing.
already?
It's
and it's going to be
snowed
the worst winter on record.
Good.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Calgary is really cold.
It is really cold.
But at least they got you kind of warmer clothes the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Well, especially Dom. My
Especially
God,
her,
girls in
right?
like a belly shirt and a skirt. I still remember that night where you had the skull, and like your heroes always win moment. And I remember thinking, she must be so cold.
I was
I felt
so
so
cold.
bad for you.
I was so cold.
But this year you're gonna buy.
Electric socks.
Yeah.
Very excited about this. Kat's been trying to make me buy them for like 2 years. Like, Tom, I have Raynaud's. Does anyone have Raynaud's here? Hey! Who's my Raynaud's friend? Yay! Raynaud's. It's the worst, am I right? Raynaud's is like extreme circulation problems, so that your blood doesn't go to your extremities and they go completely yellow, and like you can stick pins in, you can't even feel it. Good times. It's the worst, and then it comes back like, and it's so painful. Anyway, so I'm getting some electric socks. Good times, good stories. Let's go, continue. Hello.
Hello. I'm new here.
Hi, welcome.
It's more of a question. You have helped me come out of my shell from being lonely and stuff, and that is my question.
Aw, thank you so much.
That's
She just wanted you to know that because you've been so open and honest with yourselves, and because you share so much with us, that it's really helped her to kind of start hiding less about herself and do things like come to a convention. So she wanted to say thank you.
Welcome to the family.
I'm short.
Story
Hi,
nice.
guys. So kind of also on that and what you guys kind of talked about already. You guys have been like sharing about your mental health and like personal journeys a lot, especially in the last few months. Has it changed anything about kind of your experience for the last couple of cons and this one? After like knowing that like people you're meeting have like been affected by your stories and inspired by them, And now that Dom, your dad saw that kind of at Earp-a-con, has that changed anything for this con?
Oh, that's a lovely question. Thank you. Ooh, and straight away my dad comes up and I just, all the tears. Oh dear. Yeah. Earp-a-con was like a big deal for me. The fact that my dad was there was like so intense. Kat witnessed me like have a little mini breakdown beforehand and after. But yeah, to tell you the truth, Earp-a-con was like a huge breakthrough, and I was like, I got cons down. I'm going to use my meditation, and it's all going to be great. And then yesterday, I was like so nervous, and today, super nervous. And so it's like, I think it's a shame, because I thought I had it all figured out, you know, but I think that being honest about that is important too, that it's like comes in waves, and sometimes you have better days than others, and sometimes your nerves and self-doubt and all that stuff affects you more for various different reasons. But I think just the very fact that I've started being more open about all of those things is going to be extremely helpful. And hearing that people were... that the podcast that I did with Bonnie really spoke to people was, it was so comforting in a way that I never expected. And absolutely moving forward, I think that being more honest and open, having these conversations is the way forward. So, yeah, thank you for your question. That's really lovely.
Did you, going into this, did you ever expect that, like kind of coupling off the last question, did you ever expect that the reaction to the characters, to this relationship would be what it is, and that it would get the attention that it has and end up on like all these lists of like, because they're on these lists of like the best TV couples and then whatever, and did you ever expect that, or was that completely unexpected when that happened?
When that happened, it's a great. I mean, the quick answer is no. I had no idea that. I mean, this is beyond crazy. I have this moment every time we do one of these. It's this moment of like, I cannot believe we're sitting in this room with this community and everything that's grown out of this whole show. But especially for Wayhaught, I knew it was special, and I had never done anything that felt so honest and real before, so I just had no idea that people would react to it so strongly the way that everyone has. What about you?
Yeah, similarly, really. I right from the get-go, when we first had, when that first scene came up, and then I was like, oh my God, people really like this. Yeah, it's completely blown me away, and it continues to. Like you say, it's hard to put into words what it feels like being up here. If any one of you guys was up here, I think you'd be like, "What? This is crazy! Why are so many people looking at me?" And I think it will continue to be like that right until the end. Yeah, thank you so much for your question.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay, you can hear me. Yes, he is back. I'm totally for Willoughby in the Garden of Eden if that happens. Hope she's okay. So first I just wanted to say, Dom, you seem like the kind of person who has a story for literally every scenario that someone can think of, which is a great person to be. And my question is a little more lighthearted, so I think it might be a good ending note. If you guys could have control of any episode in season 4, like you just got to make your own episode, what would you do?
Wow, good question.
God, that's such
I would do the Hawaii episode. God, I don't trust myself to even answer this question, because it's like nothing I could ever think of I think would ever be better than what our writers would do. But for Nicole, I would like to see her rage out a little bit in some capacity. I really want to see what that other side of her looks like, because there's just no way that she can be that good and that together and calm all the time.
Yeah, as a psychologist, same here.
Yeah. I want to see what that looks like. So that would be mine for Nicole. I guess it wasn't Nicole specific, but.
Gosh, I don't know. Say anything, say something. I'm hearing a lot of musical. I'm hearing a lot of that. I feel like I would like to direct the girls in a girl band in the show. Like, Waverly's like, guys, I got a really good idea. And they're like, really, Waves? I'm like, there's a competition, let's do it.
That's a great idea. I love that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like on Guitar Hero, where you know how you're playing Guitar Hero and all the things are coming at you. Maybe it's like a singing version of that, where it's our power and we have to like sing our way out. Like that's how we fight. I don't know. I'm thinking like, wow, that was like really internal geek Katherine brain going on. But you know what I mean? Like that turns into you use the sound for some sort of weapon.
Is Emily hearing this?
I don't know. It could be kind of fun, right?
Yeah, sure. No, yeah. I don't fully understand because
like a singing battle, but it's actually a battle.
It's just actually a battle. So we fight with our vocal.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, I can get behind it. I can get behind it.
Yeah. Sounds like a Grease fight. Sounds like from musical Grease, basically.
Yeah, sure.
Bad knees. So there's like different kinds of vulnerability in this show. Like you play the intimate scenes, you play the fear of losing someone or dying yourself, and you know the Jolene depression scene. Does that all kind of come, do you think, from the same headspace for you to be able to play this with as seriousness and as like, I guess, commitment? Do you think it kind of takes a different sort of energy or you know, motive, I guess? If that makes sense.
Which bit specifically?
Like comparing the different kinds of vulnerability that you need, like fear versus the intimacy and all that. Does that kind of, is there different levels of how hard it is to hit those notes?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Me personally, I often use a lot of my own experience in the vulnerability stuff, which I know is not the same for every actor. Sometimes it can be not the most healthy thing to do, I would say. Would you agree with that? But I find it very hard to disconnect from like myself sometimes, or I think that by adding a bit of my own experience into that really helps me connect with Waverly and speak from a very truthful place. So in turn, the bits that I, Dominique, would find harder being vulnerable, I consequently find harder playing Waverly, if that makes sense. And it always sits in a completely different place for me. And depending on the stuff, like how I, Dominique, react in different situations, whether it be that I find it hard being intimate or whatever it might be. I'm not going to tell you the real answers. But yeah, those are the bits that I have to work harder to connect with. In a way. Does that make sense? Yeah. What about you?
I think for me it depends on the scene, but it really depends on the day. Some days I'm just feeling super emotional, and some days I'm not. And so I think different, but definitely different scenes and what they require, you tap into different stuff. Sometimes it's just like a physical thing. Sometimes it's recalling a memory from my life. For sure, I do that too. So it depends, but really for me, it's so day dependent too. Sometimes it's not as accessible.
Totally.
And instead of like beating yourself up, you've just got to find another way because you don't have time. Yeah. Thank you.
We have time for one more quick question.
So mine goes with the San Diego Comic-Con question that you got, Dom. Did you instantly think of the truth or dare question when you were asked, or was that?
Oh, God. What a way to end the panel, guys. I really appreciate it. I love how you're not even going to listen. You're like, I don't even need the answer. That was it. It was just like mic drop and leave. I actually asked that question in the interview. That's the reason why it came to me. And I was like, oh no, I know the answer to this. Damn it, why did I get asked this question? Because I say it in Alison's interview.
What?
What? Yeah, Alison in the, what's it called?
In the, like the behind the scenes stuff?
Yeah.
EPK stuff?
EPK stuff.
Yep.
She asks that question. Do you not remember?
She asked if we get turned on when we kiss?
No!
Is that what you were talking about? Oh, okay.
No, guys, no. Oh, God. She asked, what was the question I got asked in the Truth and Dare? What did I get asked though?
You had to ask any cast member
Did I?
a question. We were at Comic-Con doing an interview for Sci-Fi.
No, wait. There is something in this, you guys. So what? She asked me, what?
Who's she? The question
Okay, guys. Whoa. I'm going to get this out properly. So, I thank you. I do got this. So, in that Truth or Dare thing, it was ask a question that you...
That you never asked the coworker. That you want to ask the coworker. That you would never ask. Yeah, that you would never ask.
Something along those lines. Yeah? And then that question was in the EPK interview. Do you not remember?
Oh. I don't remember now.
Well,
I don't
Alison
remember a lot
asked
of
me,
things that I do though. So.
and the first thing that came to my head was that, but it took a while.
So did you answer that to Alison and then you did it again on the...
Well, I answered it to Alison, and then of course, that was the only thing that I had in my head at the thing. So then I was like, and I asked it again in front of you, which was the worst move ever. And the minute it came out, I was like, swallow myself into the ground. Because I think that I said to Alison, don't put that on, don't release that.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it ever came out. Did it come out?
No.
So she listened to me, sweetheart. And that's the end of the story. So
don't be embarrassed. I really don't want you to be embarrassed. It's so not.
Well, it's like what else
about.
are you supposed to ask during that question? Like one thing that you've never asked anyone. I always ask everyone everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't know what I would have
super
asked.
open and honest. Yeah. It's a hard question to
but
think
I hope
of.
you don't feel embarrassed. Like please let that go. Yeah.
No.
All right. So that's the Wayhaught panel. But before we go, I just want to say, you both said at one point in interviews and different things that there were moments before you got cast on Wynonna Earp where you felt like you wanted to give up, where you felt like you weren't sure that this was where your life was going to be headed. And I would like to say personally from me, from all 500 people here and the hundreds of thousands of people around the world, we are so glad you did not. Dominique, Provost-Chalkley, and Kat Barrell.
And Bonnie Ferrar.